De nouveau à l'observatoire. On va peut-être pouvoir utiliser la... On n'a pas
Mount
récupéré
Redtooth, its top
les gros...
littered
la
with
pile de...
man-made eyes that stare into the endless depths of space.
la pile de manuscrits.
Tonight, the champion of light will depend on them to pick out a message from the ether.
Petit AFK de 1 minute, heureux. Et heureux. Bon alors, comment ça va se passer maintenant, cette fois? Pas de page en arrière de nouveau, c'est bon. Est-ce qu'on va faire un troisième loop?
As history repeats itself, the man remembers the patterns. He knows that he needs the missing part for the telescope.
Ah mais du coup on peut aller récupérer les trucs là en avance. Ah de nouveau le...
Oh, praise be. You guys are coming through for me. A pretty little light just started blinking on my board here, and that means there's a...
Oh le bâtard il m'a fait peur. J'ai des dégâts de quoi? D'accord, c'est... Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit? J'ai pas pu suivre. Tant pis. Ça a l'air différent de la boucle avec les anciens dieux d'Asgard. Là, une page. On doit avoir les 30. De l'autre côté? Je sais pas qu'elle est au-dessus. Ah, elle est là. Ah, nouvelle réalité, fragment 1.
The atmosphere in the projection booth at the drive-in was charged, almost unreal. Despite that, the air felt cool and refreshing this late at night. It'd been a hot day. The summer was nearing its end, but it wasn't over yet.
Yeah. Dr.
When
Meadows.
Dr. Rachel Meadows got the call from Michael, telling her to hurry to the observatory, she didn't waste any time. It had been a nice party. She'd had a good time, but her social life would always play second fiddle to the mysteries of space. Michael never showed up, of course. He pulled over at the wrong rest stop. She never even thought about him at the time. The phenomenon in the sky above her was too fascinating.
C'est qu'on a toujours pas... On n'a pas décodé le message non plus. Le message. L'onde, ou je ne sais quoi. Est-ce qu'elle aussi, elle aura encore des souvenirs? La puissance du magnum. On ferme pas les valves? Pas besoin. Ah, seulement si les ennemis ouvrent les valves, mais ils vont faire autre chose. Elle est ici, à la caisse à 30. Quelle est la caisse? Elle est là. Avec une page en face en plus. Les
The
possédés.
Taken may well be the tool the darkness favors over any other. At some point, they used to be human, but whatever humanity they once had is long gone. Now they're just shells covered and filled by darkness. The Taken Mr. throws at me are more grotesque and varied than the ones I first encountered in Bright Falls. But I know how to deal with them. I'd be lying if I said they don't frighten me. But I've survived worse. I can't let them stop me.
J'avoue que par rapport à ce qui s'est passé à Bright Falls, 40 pages. C'est 40? C'est pas 30? Est-ce que ça indique combien de pages? 29. Ok. Bientôt.
Stories come naturally to us. We can't help it. There are many different worlds, many competing realities within our heads, fueled by books, television, even barely remembered childhood tales. There's an endless supply of fictional concepts more familiar to us than anything or anyone real. We have a far greater connection to the fictional characters we know and love than the random people we pass on the street. Our destinies and inspirations are shaped by lies, myths, and fables.
Je me demande s'il y a des bouquins qui existent de Alan Wake. Ça peut être incroyable à lire. Peut-être qu'un jour je me mettrai à lire un peu plus de bouquins. Ça fait du temps en moins sur les jeux. Aïe aïe aïe. Plus de décisions. Et ça fait encore moins de temps pour regarder des séries, des animes. Comment on fait pour avoir du temps pour faire des trucs? Vie de chasse. On peut tester. Est-ce que ça one shot parmi à travers les ombres ou pas? La merde. Il y a une page ici en plus. J'ai failli passer à côté. Il veut pas arrêter de se cacher derrière les... Dans l'arbalète, c'est d'autres tirs. Est-ce qu'il y a un ennemi qui a pas été one-shot par l'arbalète? 30.
There are places where our world is worn thin, and another reality brushes against ours. One such site is Cauldron Lake near Bright Falls, Washington. But there are others. That other reality is dark, vast, and malleable, always in flux. In its depths dwell vast forces and alien energies. They're dangerous. But in one of these places, if you know how, you can channel the power of that place and use it to shape reality.
Et si on remonte le temps, il y a des choses qu'on n'a pas eu le temps de faire. C'est-à-dire que la meuf du diner elle va re-être possédée, non? Comment elle va gérer ça? Les ténèbres.
The darkness rose from the depths of
C'est le
Cauldron
dock.
Lake
Et non, l'Orient
until
Board il est
us.
cassé, des os.
It needed words. It needed me
Toujours
to
pas
write its
pourquoi.
way into our world. She was leverage.
Comment ça va?
Hostage. I complied, but with a twist. I put in a loophole that gave me a chance to fight back. I was hunted by shadowy enemies, but I faced the darkness. I fought it with light. I drove it back. I saved Alice, but it came with a cost. I was trapped in the dark place below Cauldron Lake.
Ok. Ça va et toi? Oh bah, on découvre un petit spin-off là de Alan Wake. Un petit surplus. C'est un peu un exutoire de violence. C'est bien plus nerveux, l'histoire elle saute quand même correcte. J'avais un très mauvais a priori sur ce que c'était et... Au final c'est cool. Ah, les hommes corbeaux. Les hommes corbeaux. Hommes corbeaux. Mais bon, l'arbalète. Ah, c'est nouveau ça. Hein. Je sais pas pourquoi l'Iron Board il fonctionne pas. Il n'arrive pas à trouver le transmetteur alors que le transmetteur il est bien là. Il va bien sur, sur le net. Ah ou alors c'est une mise à jour OBS qui fait que le transmetteur n'est plus connecté. Ça n'a pas de sens. Les araignées ne sont plus là. Hop. Pas de page. Est-ce que t'as des soucis toi d'ailleurs? Tu sais pas parce que t'as pas stream cette semaine. Est-ce que vous, vos transmetteurs, ils sont toujours fonctionnels? J'essaie de... juste pour info, voir si j'ai quelque chose de différent à gérer chez moi ou pas. Essayer de localiser la source de ce qui ne fonctionne pas. Vite.
It's you. How dare you? No, wait. It isn't you, is it?
Attends de péter les plombs.
I suppose you'd better come in. I'll unlock the door.
Thanks.
Kevin Tell ici, on l'avait oublié, non? Non, on l'avait vu.
I know what you're thinking. Evil twin, supernatural powers. But most of the time, I just like to keep
Ça
things
fait la match
basic.
28 surtout. Ouais, mais est-ce que ton l'Euron Board il voit le transmetteur? Est-ce qu'il est toujours en vert?
Like this. Need to get your hands dirty? No batteries, no moving parts, just physics. That's technology you can depend on. It's a classic.
Ah, la tiraille.
Speaking of classics, you need to be careful with this one, though. If the victim suddenly twists, you might end up cutting yourself. It's not really a workhorse, but I'm a sucker for this style. Now this is more like it. You've got slip-resistant grip. Believe me, you really want that traction once you're wrist deep in somebody. The blade's stiff enough so it won't open by accident in your pocket, but it's still really easy to open with just one hand. Now that's a big thing for me. I know what you're thinking. It's too big, too heavy. But sometimes you just need the extra oomph. If you're talking intimidation, this
T'as toujours besoin d'un
is
petit
gonna do the
en
job.
plus.
Also great for dismemberings and whatnot. You know, the messy jobs. I can't tell you how many things I've MacGyvered with this stuff. Okay, now guns. Not a big fan. I mean, how are you supposed to really connect with somebody with a bullet? I want you to understand that. I take pride in what I do. We can't both be worthless hacks, can we?
Oh la gueule de l'acteur. Bam.
You'll have to
Yeah.
forgive me, but this feels very strange. It seems like this has all happened before.
I have the replacement part for your telescope, Doctor.
All right. Let's get it installed.
Putain là. Est-ce qu'il va falloir que je sorte ou est-ce que ça va être ok direct? Tada.
I think we can give this a go, although I have this strange feeling that something will
Don't
go
start
wrong.
it up yet. There's a problem with the coolant system.
Yes, that's right. I remember. All right, let me think. If they're sabotaging it, they'll be at the primary coolant pipe outside. If you can secure it, we should be ready to pick up the signal. That is why you're here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'll take care of it.
Ça rend fou ce genre de truc.
If you have the time, I'd appreciate if you came up here and explained a few things. All of this is very strange to me.
Ah. Est-ce qu'on va lui parler? Ah ouais, mais faut prendre l'ascenseur et tout là. Oh. Allez, pour l'amour du lore. Saleté d'ascenseur. Y'a pas Dieu? Ils sont juste très très sombres. Il est possédé.
Hello.
I don't quite know what's going on, but I seem to remember having had this encounter before.
It's not deja vu, Doctor. This has happened before. We're caught in a time loop.
That's utterly insane. How could that be?
I can't really explain it. I suppose I could call it magic.
I don't believe in magic.
You believe
Neither do
in
I,
magic.
But I can't argue with what I've experienced. Listen, what matters now is the signal. The last time we only caught a part of it. I need the rest of it. Whether you believe me or not, you want to look into this as much as I do, right?
Yes. All right.
Le transmetteur est off aussi. Ah, rien à voir avec OBS. C'est un bon point. Alors faudra regarder parce que là on est sur le LEÇON Board 2 et ils ont sorti une nouvelle version qui s'appelle SAMI, S-A-2-M-I. À voir s'il faut rechanger de logiciel encore ou si exit LEÇON Board, on va trouver peut-être quelque chose de plus simple. Je comprends bien que vous ayez eu mal à croire à
I
cette histoire.
realize that you have trouble believing this.
That's an understatement. I can't deny that what you say resonates with me on some level I don't pretend to understand. But for all I know, I'm simply delusional.
But it's not just you. I've experienced the same thing as you. Doesn't that prove something, at least?
Maybe. On the other hand, given your appearance, and the fact that you're trying to convince me that I'm not insane, perhaps you're merely a hallucination that accompanies my delusions.
You're
Oui.
not having a psychotic episode, Doctor. For what it's worth, I'm a skeptic by nature. I completely understand your reluctance to believe me.
There are people caught so deep in their psychosis that they retroactively manufacture memories and beliefs that conform to the situation at hand.
Sure, but you have to stop second-guessing yourself at some point, if you want to get something done.
Tout, on est venu juste pour ça? Ok. Je vais aller aider le beauf. Ça marche. Bon courage, bonne soirée et bon début de week-end. Est-ce qu'il y a du stream un peu de prévu ce week-end avant que tu t'en ailles? Sauf si t'es déjà parti. Olé. Oh, ça a fait mal les dégâts de chute. Le contrôle des tuyaux. Mais là c'est fermé, non? Si je descends là. Oui. Ah, on va gruger. Jump. Let's go. On joue à Crash Bandicoot, ça nous connaît. Je fais tirer à travers le... Même eux quoi, même eux. Boom headshot. Boom headshot. C'est bon, j'ai pris le contrôle.
These things hate the light, am I correct? You should be able to turn on the lights and secure the area that way.
Ah, sympa ça. Parce que ça va éviter qu'il rentre.
All right. I'll start looking.
Succès déverrouillé.
Please head back.
Ça va éviter qu'il rentre dans le laboratoire, qu'il casse une partie du labo. Du coup, on aura peut-être le signal en entier. Et on va se faire agresser par tous les véhicules du monde.
I guess they didn't like that.
Ah. Remontons à pied. Retournez voir le docteur Meadows. Mais ça se déclenche 8 ans trop tôt. Pas ici. C'est avec ta lampe là. En plus c'est les mêmes objets qui ont été possédés la dernière fois. Il sort d'où tous ces les remorques et tout. Ah, j'aurais bien voulu récupérer de la life, mais ça a l'air compromis. Là, magnifique. On a toujours pas les 40 pages. Dommage. Et l'autre aussi, celui qui coûtait 20, c'était un fusil d'assaut. Les deux autres. On est bon. Et... Ah, de nouveau plongé dans le noir. Ah, mais comme on a tout allumé dehors, ils peuvent pas rentrer. On reload. Après ça, on va se changer de niveau. Go, go, go!
Find the signal?
Yes, I don't think it's quite the same thing we had, the last time. Still, we're definitely picking it up.
Are we getting the complete signal now?
I'm afraid not. Take a look at it yourself. I'm printing out a hard copy now. I'd like to ask you a question or two before that, though. If you don't mind.
Vas-y. Pourquoi j'ai pas récupéré tous mes PV?
What's on your mind, Doctor?
Most people would find these events extremely disturbing, provided that they survive these creatures, that is. You seem to be quite adept at dealing with the situation. Why is that?
Yes, I was involved in... It's a complex story. I was in this small town, and a horrible thing from another dimension kidnapped my wife and manipulated me into writing this horror story that came true. I learned to fight it with light, and I managed to contain it and free my wife. But I was trapped in its world.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. So, I'm used to
Comment ça, pas
reality
du
working
tout?
in
C'est quoi cette
strange
traduction de
and
merde?
impossible ways. And I fought these things, not exactly like this, but close enough for a good while now. Of course, I have certain advantages. Was there anything else?
What did you mean when you said you have advantages?
At the risk of sounding like a lunatic, reality is much more fluid than people think. It can be influenced.
I didn't take you for a mystic.
I'm not. I'm a writer. And under certain conditions, I can, for lack of a better word, rewrite reality. Change things.
That's absurd.
But it works.
Assuming I believe this, why don't you simply, I don't know, write yourself some superpowers?
It's not quite that simple. You need to follow certain laws of drama, I suppose. You need to think about consistency and symbolism. Often what you write isn't anywhere near as important as what you imply. There are things out there that will take advantage of your mistakes.
You really believe in this?
Don't look at me like that. You've experienced some of this yourself.
I will gladly admit that something exceedingly strange is going on. But this idea that you're somehow altering reality with your writing is ridiculous. You're essentially saying you're controlling my actions. Leaving aside the rational arguments against this, what gives you the right?
Well, it's more like having a destiny. A path you're on. You're not aware of it, but there it is. If somebody changes it, what difference does it make? It's what every writer does. If you write something that affects one of the characters, they don't really know about that.
I'm not a character. Are you saying that it's all right to take advantage of someone if they aren't aware of it?
Look, all I meant was that if you're genuinely making all your own decisions, and those decisions lead to whatever destiny you have, what practical difference does it make?
I suppose that depends on whether our destinies are determined by things like physics and probabilities, or natural reality, which is presumably neutral and impartial, or by some kind of an intelligence. If it's the latter, that intelligence makes choices based on some criteria. If we suffer as a result of those choices, there's a moral and ethical element involved, regardless of whether we're aware of its manipulations. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, c'est parti, super débat philosophique là.
You're taking this very well. I thought you'd be hangry.
I suppose I would be if I thought you could actually do this.
Ah. Du coup, elle sait pas. On sait pas si elle est restée calme parce qu'on a écrit qu'elle resterait calme.
Another printout. Another signal fragment. The message is still not complete, but it's another piece of the weapon he has built against his adversary. Mere words on a piece of paper, but in the right hands, they will hold back the darkness